This presentation for the District 9 Senior Center Public Art. We're having a second virtual conversation. We're just going to get started in just 1 minute here. Good to have everybody on the line. So good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Mireles, and I am the Public Art Project Manager for the District 9 Senior Center Public Art Project. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the second virtual conversation on this project. This presentation is being recorded and will be made available on our website following the event. So if you want to watch it again or share it with your neighbors or friends who are unable to make it tonight, it'll be on our website by the end of this week. And if you've registered, I'll send it out to you. Before we get started, we're joined tonight by District 9 City Councilman John Courage, who wanted to welcome us. Hello, Councilman Courage.
Hello. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, I do want to welcome everybody to listen in today and learn more about our District 9 Senior Center. We've already come up with a contractor who's going to begin work on the Senior Center. We've done so much planning and design. We've had so much input from our District 9 Senior Center Advisory Committee. And this art project is kind of one of those finishing touches to the overall plan to this project. So I'm really happy to see that we're making another public display of it so people get a better understanding. And we certainly always welcome input into this. And so I'm glad to be here. I hope everybody else is. And Kimberly, thank you. And Debbie Rockesitter, thank you for the work that you all do for art projects in our community.
Thank you, Councilman Courage, for being with us tonight and for always supporting public art and the Senior Center. As Councilman mentioned, we have also with us Debbie Rockesitter, who is the Director of the Department of Arts and Culture, as well as joining us tonight, I think she's working there, is Frida Facey, who is your District 9 San Antonio Arts Commissioner, and she's also the Chair of the Public Art Committee. So thanks to everybody for joining us. So I'm going to start with the presentation. If we could give us a minute while we pull that up. So as Councilor mentioned, this is a conversation. So if you would like to chat with us, please make sure to click on that chat icon at the bottom right of your screen. And when you are ready to chat, make sure that from the drop-down menu you choose Everyone so that we can see your comments or questions. We'll do our best to respond to your questions before the end of this meeting. If we don't address your questions during this time, we can follow up with you afterwards, or as always, feel free to reach out to me. The chat in this meeting will be part of the public record and open to everyone. We ask that you use SA Speak Up guiding principles for conversation that is meaningful, transparent, respectful, and inclusive, and that you refrain from using profanity. Next slide. During this presentation, we're going to look at the public art process, the project overview, the proposed location and concept of this public artwork, a timeline, and next steps. And then finally end with the discussion portion. So this is a second conversation. If you attended the first conversation or saw the recording, some of this is going to be repeat, so just hang in there with us and stick around for the discussion section. Next slide. For those of you who aren't familiar with what public art is art in a public place that has been through a public engagement process to determine three things: where the art will be placed, who the artist will be, and what will be the inspiration and themes for the art. It's approved by our San Antonio Arts Commission. It's managed by a public art project manager like myself, and it's paid for usually with public funds. These funds come from the 1% allocated from the bond, and they are used to implement public art projects according to our public art plan. Next slide. Every public art project our department manages goes through an extensive process where we check in with the community and different stakeholders, as well as our San Antonio Arts Commission and Public Art Committee. Here you can see for this project, we're about halfway through this process. We've done some initial community engagement. The artist was selected by an artist selection panel and approved by the Public Art Committee and San Antonio Arts Commission, and they've now developed a concept. So we're here to get your input before we continue on this process. Next slide. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this project, the Public Art Project is tied to the Public Works Bond Project, which will see a new senior center built in District 9 off of Rhapsody Avenue near West Avenue, within the grounds of Walker Ranch Park. If you have questions about the building or the center itself, please feel free to reach out to my colleague, Kathleen Crabb at Public Works, and she'll be able to answer any questions about the building. So when we were looking at the building's design with Public Works and with the Department of Human Services, we selected 2 parallel walls that flank the reception area of the center. This location will be seen by everyone, whether using the center or having a meeting in the council office. The walls are 30 feet long and 13 feet high, and you see the reception desk is kind of floating there, and above it is a large glass cupola which will flood the area with natural light. Next slide. So last year we conducted some community engagement in the form of an SA Speak Up survey, which was open for 2 weeks, and we had 74 responses to that survey. We also held 2 meetings at the Senior Center in District 10, which this Senior Center is meant to relieve. I also met with the District 9 Senior Center Planning Committee, Advisory Committee, and I think some of you are on here tonight, so thank you for joining us. And that committee has been organized by Councilman Courage. So that public feedback directed us to have the art be aesthetically pleasing, to include themes of nature and or symbols of Texas. The art should be lively and happy, and the art should fit in with the modern hill country architecture of the building. We held an artist selection panel made up of 2 members from the District 9 Advisory Committee, members from the Department of Human Services who will manage the building, and members from the design team, Beatty Palmer Architects. That panel recommended Stephen Galloway, an artist from San Francisco who investigates natural history and what nature means to those who are experiencing it. While Stephen is an out-of-town artist, we did stipulate that the fabricator and installer had to be local so that 80% of the budget is spent locally. Stephen has met digitally in this time with many folks and even came down for a week during the summer to meet with some more people from the advisory committee, the designers, the Department of Human Services, and the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as he was able to tour the Northeast Senior Center. And he's really excited and he's really honored to recreate an artwork for this building. Next slide. The core of the Senior Center's mission revolves around physical, mental, and social well-being. There's a wealth of documentation in medicine, psychology, and sociology of the beneficial relationship between nature and health. This pair of artworks you see will be matched, sharing the same overall dimensions, materials, style, and installation. The artworks, approximately 24 feet wide and 10 feet tall, will each depict a compelling view looking up into the canopies of trees endemic to this area of San Antonio, the Texas pecan, and the live oak. The compositions may appear photographic from a distance, but on closer inspection reveal themselves to be stylized images with outline blocks of color depicting detail. You can see that detail to the right of your screen there. This effect is part of a lineage going back to traditional stained glass methods, as well as following in the footsteps of impressionists like Claude Monet. This graphic approach updates these methods to create a contemporary form appealing to people who love Frank Lloyd Wright's or Tiffany glass design, as well as people who love Japanese anime. So you can see here on wall A and wall B, 2 overall images of the Texas pecan and the live oak. Each photo is and artwork is different, but again, once you look at the detail you'll be able to see the nuances of the trees and the leaves that are there. Next slide. Each of the artworks will be a single image, but divided into a grid of smaller panels. For each artwork, there will be 3 equal horizontal rows of panels. The rows, however, will be divided into panels of various widths, creating different rhythms interacting with each other. These patterns of stacked rows made of irregular blocks are directly inspired by the limestone brick pattern found in any hill country design and throughout San Antonio's architecture. As currently imagined, the artworks are to be fabricated using laminated tempered glass. The image will be held within that glass lamination, and the front of the glass will be clear. The rear of the glass panels will be treated to really make those colors stand out and shine brightly. Next slide. So this work is designed to be integrated in the center. It's designed for the proportions of the room and the walls, reflecting the materials and using the natural light from the cupola above the reception area. It uses strong color and composition to engage viewers from the different viewpoints available around that space. It also grounds the viewer, reminding them of where they are. There's important themes regarding San Antonio's natural and built environment, which resonate throughout these artworks. The artwork also engages the viewer's sense of color, temperature, scale, and especially angle. These views aren't what we first think of as we picture trees in our mind. They're an engaged view, an experience of being kind of up in the tree, looking even further beyond into the sky. And most importantly, the artist wanted these works to carry an invitation. Viewers should see the artwork in relation to the trees they see looking out the windows in the senior center. The artwork extends an invitation to go beyond those windows out into Walker Ranch Park itself. Next slide. So that's the concept. To give you an idea of the next steps that the artist will take, we will receive some feedback tonight from you guys, and I'm happy to take feedback through December 23rd. Once we get that feedback all together, we'll hand that to the artist, and he'll continue to work on final design. To give you an idea of the feedback that we've gotten so far, we've had a lot of positive feedback about the bright colors, about the theme of nature and the connection to Walker Ranch Park. We've had positive comments about the stained glass and limestone patterns. We did have some requests to add wildlife into the trees, a squirrel, for example, or the mockingbird, which is the Texas state bird. And we've also had a suggestion to add more of the history of the area and the park. So we'll take that feedback certainly, plus any feedback we get tonight. The artist will present a final design to the Public Art Committee and San Antonio Arts Commission in the spring. And we will fabricate and install the piece in accordance with the building's construction schedule. Next slide. So here's the important part, why we're all here tonight. Here are some specific questions that we'd like some feedback from you. If you have other comments or questions, please give us those as well. So the questions we would like answers for are, how do you think the artwork fits within the Senior Center building design and the surrounding neighborhoods? 2, would you do anything to improve this concept? 3, the theme of this artwork is nature. Are you interested in layering another theme with nature? So remember to use that chat button at the bottom right of your screen, and then when it says 2, scroll down to everyone. So I'm going to take just a minute break here to give you time to write in your questions, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we've got a couple questions and comments coming in. We have a question: where is the connection to Walker Ranch Indian Historic Landmark Park? So that answer is, when we asked people during the initial communication for themes, nature won by 49%. So that's the predominant theme. I've seen another comment that says this land was a ranch land, cows, not squirrels. So again, if there's interest in adding a historic layer to this concept, that's something certainly we can pass on to the artist. Why wasn't the Walker Ranch history incorporated? I think that's a similar answer. But again, if it's we're seeing a big demand for more history in these two artworks, we can certainly pass that on and try to incorporate that before the final design. Okay, if you walk through the park, you'll see pictures and history of the park. So we, as I briefly mentioned, Stephen, when he was down here, in addition to doing his research before he came and when we got this project, we walked through the park. We met with Parks who shared with us the history. And again, I think it's not as prominent because we have the community chose nature as the primary theme. Okay, we have a comment. The survey never mentioned the history, so those who answered the survey were totally unaware of this history. That's something, we try to have as many people answer the survey as we can reach out to and who will take it and who are interested. The art belongs to the city and to you folks and to District 9 people, and we really want you guys to lead the charge, but we can't, so I'm not sure if people knew the history or not, but again, when we do the presentations, it's not art decisions, so we don't try to lead on certain answers. Okay. So I see a comment that says there are participants who cannot chat. If you are having some technical difficulties and can't send in a chat right now, again, feel free, and I'll show my contact info in just a moment, and I think they put it in the chat. Feel free to call me, feel free to email, or you can even write to me before December 23rd, and I will take down all of your comments and responses. Comments. One suggestion was to add the windmill into the picture. So there is a historic windmill in Walker Ranch Park, as I'm sure many of you know already. So that's something that the artist can look at and maybe choose to incorporate that somehow as a way of telling the history of Walker Ranch Park. Okay, we have a comment. Those who live in Harmony Hills are part of the same land as the senior center. It was all ranch land, but no incorporation of the story of the land. And then we have a comment. Could the staff send info on history to the artist? Yes. So we have the artist has the history that the Parks Department has, that the city has, but if there's other history that you as residents or have access to or know of, please send them to me and I can certainly pass that on to the artist. Okay, question, is this it? This is the art as we see it. So this is a concept design. It's a kind of starting off point. It's been approved by the Public Art Committee. So this is a good time to incorporate some minor updates or different things, but this is kind of the concept that we're going with. And again, if there's anything we can do to improve this concept, then that's what we're here tonight to find out. Okay. It appears that the nature theme is locked in. Could there be a panel, perhaps looking out to the park, depicting the history and showing park features? So that's a great idea, and that's something, you know, as a public art staff member, I can only speak to the public art, but I can certainly pass on to the Department of Human Services, who will kind of own and manage the building, that suggestion. I think it's another great way to get seniors and visitors to the center out into the park and to experience this great gem that you guys have. Okay, can we have contact info on the artist? So if you have anything you want to pass on to the artist, feel free to reach out to me, and I can pass on to him as we go through this. Okay. We have a comment that says, what is minor? I think that's when I was referring to minor changes. So like I said, this concept, you know, meets an example of a minor change would be adding a mockingbird into it. That's minor. Again, the theme that was chosen is nature, so I don't think that we would reverse that. Okay, seniors in Harmony Hills have and are unhappy with no real representation of the land. That's something where, you know, as I mentioned before, the engagement that we've gotten has been almost all positive. So we're still doing more engagement. Please feel free to reach out to me in a few number of ways and give them my phone number, email, and I will take down everybody's comments and suggestions. Comment. If we all were in a room, we would be able to speak. Chatting like this is not the same and feeling unheard. I understand. I think, you know, right now with the city restrictions, this is for a virtual meeting with many people. This is what we can do right now. And so again, if you feel unheard, please feel free to call me directly and we can have a conversation, or email or anything. We just, with COVID restrictions, this is what we are all trying to deal with and manage through. Okay. And we've questioned did all the other town halls work this way as well? This is how our department has been doing all of our virtual engagement sessions, and we've actually had pretty good either chat responses live, or again, because we do record these and send them out to everybody who has attended, we have gotten good feedback either live or later through email or calls. Were there any other, okay, let's see here, comment. I like the open feeling of the design, to add more than trees, squirrels, birds, cattle, windmill. would crowd the design. It's relaxing as designed. Okay, we have a comment that says, thank you, staff, for arranging this. It was very last minute. We cannot engage without speaking. This is not transparent, and seniors are not being heard. So, you know, we are continuing this conversation. Please have anybody call me or email or mail me anything. And if you go to the next slide, so that's my contact information. Please send me, or if you have specific people that you know who we need to reach out to, please send their contact info to me, and I'm happy to reach out to them. We just need all of our feedback by December 23rd to give to the artist to continue on the process for this artwork design and installation. So I'm going to see if there's any other comments coming up.
Kimberly, I'd like to mention a couple of things, if I may.
Of course.
Sure. I do appreciate people getting on board and listening and taking a look at this. I kind of get a feeling there's a little bit of a misunderstanding, and that the senior center is for all of District 9, and it isn't the Walker Ranch Park Senior Center. And it seems like a lot of the comments are related to people who, you know, feel a possession for the senior center, and I can respect that. That's great. I hope that they'll all feel like it is their senior center. But it really is a senior center for all of District 9. And when people say seniors haven't been heard, there were 20 people who were members of the District 9 Senior Center Committee that worked on this, and all of them were seniors. And, you know, a lot of input was given from seniors, maybe not ones who lived in Harmony Hills, but District 9 is a big area, and there was a lot of input. But I still welcome, and I think we all do, the suggestions that are being considered now. And, you know, I just think this is a good project and it's going well. And I think that all of us will get to enjoy the final product. But as Kimberly said, you know, send your suggestions. They won't just be filed in the circular file. They'll be sent on to the artist, and he'll be given it more consideration. And I would say that if we find there's a significant change in what he originally proposed after these suggestions, that we'll probably come back and show those changes to the community before a final product is finally decided on.
Thanks, Councilman. That's exactly right. As you know, as we mentioned, this is a great time to give us your feedback so that we can pass that on. Okay. So looks like we had a couple more comments come in. Harmony Hills and Walker Ranch Park share the same land and would like respect of the land, the indigenous people, and the history. Sad that is being denied and ignored. I will certainly pass on to the artist that there has been a comment for either history incorporated to this artwork, or as somebody suggested, which I think is a great suggestion, having some information in the center to talk about the park and the area. Okay. So I think at this point, we're kind of reached our time, but again, I'm going to be beating a dead horse here, but send me any comments, suggestions, if you like it. If you have other suggestions on how to improve this concept, my email address is on the screen. My phone number is 210-207-5951. And please check our website. I send everybody who has attended and who registered a recording of this so you can share with your neighbors and friends in District 9. Just make sure that any feedback is given to me by December 23rd. And then just a note to say that the city does go on holiday break after that. So if you don't hear from me right away, I will make sure and contact you in the new year. So that is the conclusion for tonight. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you, Councilman Courage, for attending tonight, and Debbie, and your Arts Commissioner, Frida Facey, and those from the advisory committee that are here tonight, and to everybody who commented. This is really, we really want your feedback, so thanks again. And good night.